Hello to our farmers and ETJ landowners. My name is Rick Von File, and soon I will be making a decision as to whether I'm going to run for City Council. However, before I make that decision, I wanted to sneak this video in for you, just in case I don't run. So I have some advice from my perspective for you and your situation. As well as a few words for the developers, as well as the landowner's attorney. However, first, let's hit the pause button. First of all, I want you to know that I'm on your side. Okay, and what I mean by that is that I personally want to see the ETJ areas developed, especially if it's industrial purposes. However, you're going to have to take a breath and kind of hear this out. So if you're a landowner and you want to sell your land, I'm on your side for that. If you're a farmer and you don't want to sell your land, I totally understand that. I have an affection for farmers. I grew up, weekends and spring breaks working on my grandfather's farm back when farms were a lot smaller and had, multiple crops and livestock, and most of the labor was manual. Secondly, I want you to know that I'm not pandering to you, okay? Because first of all, I don't need anything from you. And as far as the May election goes, I don't think you're allowed to vote in it anyway. So I just want you to know that the advice that I'm giving to you is just free advice. Okay, so unpause. So from my vantage point, I see two things. First, you may feel that the City Council and City Hall are working against you, perhaps even conspiring against you. But the truth is that they believe that developing these vacant lots is top priority. And, when I returned to Taylor a few years ago, I did a satellite view of Taylor and was shocked at how many vacant lots were peppered all across town. So I support the infill project. Okay, so no, wait, don't leave. Remember, you got to hear me out. And second, I think that you're being taken advantage of. And my advice comes from years of working in the corporate world, where I've seen PR professionals or public relations professionals work with attorneys to craft messages that are designed to sway public opinion. I've seen it. I know how it works. And these messages are designed with a lot of deep psychology. So here's what I see. You have this land that you would like to be able to sell to the developers. However, you may feel the city is standing in the way of that because they have prioritized the development of these inner city vacant lots. And yet, interestingly, the developers know how to resolve this issue, yet they aren't doing it. Why? Think about it. What is the most certain and expeditious or speedy way for the developers to get what they want? They want to buy your land and they want to build homes on it. Okay? So they have deep pockets, they have blueprints, they have engineers. They could buy these lots and develop homes on them very quickly. I live in Taylor. I see it all the time. A for sale sign goes up, and in a New York minute, the next thing you know, there's concrete slab and 2x4s going up. So they could buy these lots and develop them in weeks or months. So again, why are they not doing this? Because getting you upset and mad as hell is cheap. Think about it. Stirring the pot on social media and hiring an attorney and whatever they're paying in postage to mail stuff to you is cheap. So here's my advice for you. I have two advices. First, I would pray for patience, okay, because you're going to need it. This is going to take a hot minute. You will be able to sell your land eventually. It's just not going to be, in the next 6 months. So I'd pray for patience. Second, I would turn the tables on the developers and tell them, instead of getting you and your neighbors all upset and mad as hornets, that the developer should be going in and buying these vacant lots, developing them, and then speeding up this infill process. So here's my advice for the developers. If I decide to run for city council, and if I were to win, I would like to see a list of some vacant lots that have been purchased, maybe some before and after photos. I think that for me, that would go a long way. That would be a good faith step in the right direction. And finally, here are my thoughts for the landowner's attorney, Mr. Johns. I know that we have exchanged text messages, and I was really hoping that we could have a conversation before making this video. However, I haven't heard from you in a couple days, and I need to make my decision here in the next few days. So I want to assure you that I will consider making a follow-up video. If you and I have a chance to speak, I would like to speak with you. And I think that's fair for me to afford you that courtesy to make a follow-up video. So with that said, here are my concerns. I was at the presentation at the library, and the farmers and ETJ landowners are going to be on the hook for 10 years, 3% commission. And that's all fine. That's actually not part of my concern. My concern is, what is the definition of success? How is that defined? Because one of the things that you mentioned multiple times is that these types of cases tend to settle. And that is a true statement. However, once it goes to arbitration and there starts to become these negotiations, what if the settlement ends up being, the equivalent of peanuts? What if it just changes to the nomenclature? So by definition, legally, you've been successful in court, which means that the farmers and ETJ landowners, they have to abide by the four corners of the document, what they agreed to, what they signed. However, they didn't get much out of it, but for the next 10 years, they're locked in at 3%. So that's my concern. I want to see how we can talk about putting some parameters around that, so that if there's some very minor success in court, that the farmers and landowners aren't on the hook for 3% for 10 years if it's very insignificant. So anyway, hope to hear from you. And for everyone else, thanks for your time.